Hello, I'm Nick Arena. I'm the MBA Program Director at UNC Pembroke. Today we're going to talk about my personal perspective on doing business in China, based on about 15 years of experience, starting as the CEO of a manufacturing firm who encountered competition with a Chinese supply chain and had to go to China to have a lower cost base. And eventually, as a consultant to several Chinese firms doing business in the United States. So, we start with Shenzhen, China, which is the point of entry for me the first time I went there, and many times thereafter. But this is a modern city. It has over 10 million population, but 25 years ago it was only about 250,000, which for China is very small. And it was designated as a special economic zone, and manufacturing has moved in, and most of that population increase is due to the migrant workers, either in the factories or the services that are associated with the factories. And again, you can get there from Hong Kong by car. You can actually walk across the border, as I have done several times. Now, in China, what I needed to do was find a supply chain, and this is the factory that we eventually selected. But I could have taken a picture of many factories because, to me, they all look very similar. This one, built in the early 1990s, doesn't meet the US standards of construction today and really wasn't built to last. In fact, most of these factories of that vintage are being demolished as we speak. But this is where we started, and it wasn't because of the building, but it was because of the people inside the building. There was a manufacturing team here that was comprised of Hong Kong entrepreneurs, used to doing business with American businessmen, able to provide the product we wanted, the quality we needed, able to allow us to sleep at night knowing that our most profitable product was being made in their plant. But eventually they had to move to a much bigger facility. And I should mention that both of these, while I call them factories, are actually a campus complex, and they include several buildings. This building houses administration as well as a factory, but also behind the building are dormitories, eating facilities, recreation facilities. The employees, including the management team, truly live in this complex. For most of the employees, year-round. For the management employees, they generally have Sunday off, go back to Hong Kong. But this is where they live and work most of the time. This is a typical assembly worker that you would find in one of these factories. They tend to be female, under 25 years of age, migrated to this area from Western China. That's why you need the support structure, or the factory owner needs the support structure for these people to live, because they have no other place to live in these towns. When I say female, in the electrical and electronics industry, they tend to hire many females because they have small hands, can do delicate assembly work, and they don't have any laws prohibiting this. They can discriminate in who they hire. So they hire young people who happen to be female and happen to be best suited for what they want assembled in that plant. And here's an assembly line. You can see again a number of workers working on both sides of this line. There's a conveyor belt down the middle. This is a very crowded work area. Each worker has everything they need at their disposal. You can see manufacturing documents hanging above the worker's head. They don't have to leave this station, and they actually only leave occasionally. They leave during lunch, where they take a break, and occasionally I'm guessing that they must get another break now and then. But there are many people working here. It's not what we would consider a productive assembly area, in that we estimated that they had 3 to 4 times as many people as they needed. But from their point of view, productivity was not a priority. They were paying these workers about $1 per hour. And when their competition, like our factory in Lumberton, was paying $20 per hour, productivity was just not a priority. And there also are government subsidies to these plants that are based on the number of people they employ. So actually, it's in their best interest to employ more people. But when they need to, they can automate. Here you see a piece of equipment that's a pick and place machine capable of populating a PCB board like you would find in your computer, in your iPad, any type of electrical or electronic equipment. So it can do complicated boards, multi-layer boards. This is a piece of equipment equivalent to the best you'll find in the Western world. This happens to be Chinese equipment, I believe, Chinese manufactured, but manufactured to another country's design. And here you see the type of products that many of these factories and businesses were founded on. This is an electrical coil. It's a basic component that goes into transformers, power conditioning devices, motors, almost any type of electrical equipment or even electronic equipment. Most of these are the size that you could pick up and hold in the palm of your hand. So, again, the company started with this type of product, and then they would move on to higher levels of assembly, building whole sub-assemblies, and eventually building the entire equipment. This factory was capable of building all the equipment that went into various power applications, including the cabinets, all the electrical equipment that went into it, unless it was proprietary and it was purchased for assembly. They also are very proud of their safety and quality record. We hear a lot about quality in China, but the fact is they will give you the quality that you demand. And you have to specify the quality. You won't get a higher level of quality, but you will get the quality you demand. Our products had to all meet UL, and they were able to meet UL. Products from Europe have to meet CE. Many of the products in this plant met CE. But they'll only reach the level of quality that you tell them to reach. When it comes to safety, my personal opinion is they lag behind. You could observe in the factory many jobs where people would be wearing safety glasses in a US factory, safety shoes in a US factory, and you don't have that level of protection for the employees. So, here's another picture. This is Dongguan. That's where the factory we looked at was located. It's a beautiful picture of the city. You can see green spaces. You can see the city in the background. It looks very appealing. The fact is, this is a very good Chamber of Commerce photo of the city. Most of this city is clogged with traffic, has lots of concrete dust, pollution of other types, very difficult to get around in, rapidly growing, and actually has become a very expensive place by Chinese standards to manufacture, and many of these companies are looking for a place to move west and get out of the expensive, crowded cities they're in. We'll be back in the next part of this lecture to talk about the culture and the business culture in China and some things I observed and some recommendations I have for you.